Italiano Romboni. He rode the Team Agostini Honda in the colours of Lucky Strike, the sponsors of the meeting. But it was not a sensational return for the Dutchman. He qualified down in 22nd place, more than 4 seconds a lap down on pacemaker Max Biaggi. It was not a good meeting for 250cc championship leader Tetsuya Harada. Second fastest in the first qualifier on Thursday, things went sadly wrong on Friday in the final time session for the Marlboro Team Rainey Yamaha racer, who just fitted new front and rear tyres and had regained second place on the leaderboard behind pole setter Max Biaggi when this spill happened. Harada badly battered and winded in the tumble and was unconscious for a few minutes. He was taken to the mobile clinic in the paddock for treatment by Dr. Costa and his men. X-rays showed a suspected fracture in his right arm and he was transferred to the local hospitals for further checks. Fellow Japanese star Teruyuki Okada was third fastest behind Biaggi and Harada, but Okada also had an eventful practice. He was only fifth best after Thursday's session, almost 2 seconds slower than Biaggi. Like Harada, the HLC rider was trying hard in Friday's final session and came very, very close to losing it. Shades of Randy Mamola. Okada recovered from that big scare and quickened his pace enough to climb to third best and grab a place on the front row of the grid, less than 1.5 seconds down on Biaggi. Max Biaggi, on the other hand, had absolutely nothing to worry about. The Roman Emperor, still allegedly unable to come close to agreeing terms with the Aprilia factory for next season, was in sensational form, topping the leaderboard in the practice session over a second lap faster than anybody else. There were not many crashes during practice. This spill by Carlos Checo was the first of two, but he escaped uninjured from both. When the checkered flag went out to end the practice sessions, it was Biaggi who was looking good, and not for the first time this year. The opposition looked very much in disarray.
Today I make good setting on the bike, and team and Chester Aprilia worked very well with me, and I'm happy. I'm quite happy because also on pole position, and for tomorrow I think should be nice race, but I don't know. I hope so to win and to give me a present for my birthday Monday. I make 24 years old, so I'm a little bit old now, but still fast.
Daryl Beattie discovered at Assen that the dramatic world of Moto Grand Prix can kick you in the teeth when you least expect it. The 24-year-old Australian was not apparently trying too hard on the Lucky Strike Suzuki when he crashed out of the Dutch TT. 1 minute he was leading the 500 World Championship by a comfortable margin after 6 Grand Prix, where he scarcely put a foot wrong. The next he was preparing for a flight to England, clutching these X-rays of his broken collarbone.
Well, I guess it was just a normal high side, and I've broken my collarbone, and I'll have some surgery done on my collarbone probably tonight or tomorrow morning in London, and it's the same collarbone that I've done before, and I've had the same thing done, and I'll be fit and back for Le Mans.
With Beattie out of action, Mick Doohan looked to be able to breathe a little easier. But Assen was without doubt, and understandably, Doohan's least favourite, after all the bad luck and injury he'd sustained at the Dutch Grand Prix over the years. But the 30-year-old reigning world champion shrugged off any bad thoughts, though he was less than complimentary about the circuit in the press conference at the end of the qualifying sessions. He was not the fastest in qualifying for the first time this season, but many people in the paddock thought he looked more relaxed and at ease than he'd done since his 2 victories at the start of the season. Was this because Beattie wouldn't be racing? Loris Capirossi was third fastest in practice, and the young Italian admitted that he was enjoying riding the 500 Marlboro Team Pelleri Honda more than he'd ever done before. He was riding the bike instead of being taken for a ride, he admitted. On Thursday, using a hand-operated rear wheel brake for the first time, he was 5th fastest, despite a raging headache. For Friday, he'd reverted to the conventional foot brake lever, the headache had gone, and Loris was 3rd fastest for the 4th time this year. Alberto Puig, the Spaniard, was 4th fastest on the Fortuna Honda Pons machine throughout the 2 days of qualifying, despite having problems with the front end of the bike. After trying both 17-inch and 16.5-inch front wheels, Alberto elected to use the smaller one, though there was still a problem getting optimum cornering speeds. Fastest of all in practice was another Spaniard, Alex Crivillé, on the Repsol Honda. It was the 25-year-old's first ever 500cc pole position, and in fact the first time a Spanish rider had ever achieved that feat. Crivillé was 3rd fastest on Thursday after the opening session, and that would have been his best qualifying performance of the season. A blistering last lap moved him up from 5th to 3rd fastest. But Crivillé went quicker still on Friday. He moved up to 2nd fastest and then went ahead of Doohan after putting on a new softer rear tyre in the last 5 minutes of the 1-hour qualifying session. Happy faces in the Repsol Honda pits.
I feel very happy because it's my first pole position, and to get a pole position is not easy in 500, and I'm really happy.
It's not important at all. You know, our main concern is to trying to get the bike set up as best possible for tomorrow, and we're working real hard on trying to get that. Like at the end of the session, we were circulating, but we weren't circulating that fast, and just trying different things. And you know, that's my main aim, not to put in a soft tyre and go for a lap.
Today is very happy. It's too much work for the setting the bike. Now my bike is it's not very good. But it's possible for tomorrow is good race. Maybe the setting front fork and rear suspension now is good.
Hideyuki Nakajo was another man to grab his first ever pole position when he topped the 125cc class on Friday afternoon. The 26-year-old Japanese rider on the JHA Racing Honda slashed over 1.3 seconds off Sakata's lap record to top the qualifiers. All told, 11 riders went inside the lap record, with Akira Sato 2nd fastest on his Dock Shop Racing Honda, just over 1/10 of a second slower than Nakajo. The Japanese star was 2nd quickest after Thursday behind Sakata. He went quicker, but he just couldn't oust Nakajo from top spot. Once again, Spaniard Emilio Alsamora prevented a Japanese clean sweep on the Scott Racing Honda. Down in 6th place after the first session, Alsamora took almost 2 seconds off his best lap to stake his claim for a place on the front row of the grid. Reigning champion Kazuta Sakata was 4th fastest after topping the first day's qualifying session on the Aprilia, but it was all very close. Just a 1/5 of a second separated the top 4.
Join the huge crowd at Assen then for all the race highlights right after the break.
So the 250cc race starting this year's Dutch Grand Prix at Assen, and there is Okada, 3rd fastest in qualifying, but he had a big scare and was lucky not to crash. This man, though, without a care in the world, Max Biaggi, sharing the championship lead at the moment, and this is how they will line up. Biaggi, Harada a non-starter, then Okada and Ralph Waldmann, Jean-Philippe Rougier, Olivier Jacques, Jean-Michel Bale and Roberto Locatelli. They are under starters' orders, 18 laps ahead of the field. Away they go with a gap on that front row with Harada, a spectator, out through injury following that big crash, and it's Biaggi at the front of the field. Ralph Waldmann, Okada side by side, and Waldmann surely will have the better as they peel off right, and it was Waldmann who slotted through into 2nd spot on the distinctive HB Honda colours. of that Honda, but Biaggi out in front of the pack, and the Italians and the Biaggi supporters in this vast crowd urging on their hero. Biaggi then at the front of the field, Waldman, then Okada, then is Rugia, and Bale. Behind Bale was Jürgen van der Goorberg, the Dutch privateer. A great ride from van der Goorberg on the Maxell Team Global machine. Well, a good start, and the crowd will be urging him on, but it's Biaggi who's made the great start. There is his teammate, former Supercross world champion, and somebody going very wide. That was Olivier Jacques. Well, he lost a lot of ground there, and with Biaggi pulling away, the pack tightening up behind, there's the gap between the leader and the chasing pack. Waldman, then Okada, then Jean-Philippe Rugia, and there is Jürgen van der Goorberg, the younger of the two Van der Goorberg brothers, battling there with Bale. Well, what a great start for Van der Goorberg, and the crowd willing him to get up amongst the factory men. He's a privateer, of course, very pleasant young man with a lot of talent. And here's another young man with a lot of talent, Max Biaggi. This will be his third win in a row if he can go through and take the checkered flag. And the view from Okada's machine as he chases Ralph Waldman, both on factory Hondas, of course, but they don't have the legs of the Aprilia out in front. Waldman in second place, and of course a lot of German supporters here. We're very close to the German border in the north of Holland. That's the gap, and it's growing. Back with Okada, and he'll be studying the racing line of Ralph Waldman. Waldman, who went so well at the beginning of the year, but dropped off a little bit in the past few races, of course, crashing out of the German Grand Prix and failing to score. And these two men very close together, and they are being caught now by Jean-Michel Bale. And what a fine performance this is from the Frenchman, who switched from motocross to Tries-Hand World Championship road racing, and that's going from being a squash champion to take up lawn tennis. It's as different as that. Waldman in second place, but Okada all over him, looking for a place to go past if he can find it. And although this is a long circuit, over 6 kilometers in length, there are not many places to overtake. You've got to think about it, you've got to be careful, and then you've got to be brave. So Okada, and there's one brave man whose race is over, Eskil Suter. And Okada has gone through. Waldman trying to come back on the inside, but no joy there. So the Japanese star, runner-up in last year's World Championship, goes through to take second place in the race. Waldman pushed back to third, and Jean-Michel Bale right there, and a far from disinterested spectator, and that was the view from the rear-facing camera on Okada's machine. Fifth and sixth, Jürgen van der Goorberg and Jean-Philippe Rugia. And Okada then in second place, but here comes Waldman out of the slipstream. The German just neatly goes through, and Jean-Michel Bale was thinking about it. Hard on the brakes, the Frenchman, but he stays back in fourth position. But Waldman has regained second spot, and Okada is back in third place. Well, it could be a brave man to forecast the outcome of this little three-rider battle. Meantime, Biaggi disappearing. Look at the gap going all the time. Must be over 10 seconds now. And look at this, Okada looking one side, then the other. Will come level. No, he doesn't. Pulls back. Goes for the other side. And Bale's there as well. And Bale almost pushed onto the grass. Well, Okada had almost forgotten that Bale was there in the picture. Okada all over the circuit, and Waldman's bike just getting a little bit light and twisty there. Waldman hanging on, though, for grim death for second spot, refusing to let Okada go through. And Bale, this is his best performance of all time. He really is getting better and better as a road racer. Here comes Okada, level with Waldman. Will he hang on? Yes, he does. And there's Bale. What's he going to do? Well, he had to drop back. He thought about going with Okada, but there just wasn't room. And Okada, a very, very brave piece of riding, and it carries him through to second spot. But Waldman is there. Waldman has regained that position once, but look at this, Okada beginning to pull away. Now Bale looks for the inside line, dives through, changes his mind, chickens out, and Bale dropped back to fourth place. Well, he had a chance to go through there, but Waldman was indicating he wasn't going to let him go through, and discretion was very much the better part of valor. And Bale looking for a place on the podium for the first time in his road racing career. He's done it dozens of times as a motocrosser, but never as a road racer. But first he's got to get past these two, and Waalman on the inside. Oh, and the Nakata was about to lay the bike down at the chicane, and suddenly the yellow fairing was there. Biaggi, in the meantime, looks as if he's going down the road to post a letter. It's as comfortable as that. And Waalman then with the advantage, Okada behind him, Bale still there. Oh, and Okada thought about going through on the inside, set up, braked, and Bale almost rammed him from behind. Well, this is desperate stuff, but what a great race it is. 120, 150,000 spectators. You take your pick of the figures. There goes Bale. Oh, he almost nipped through. The crowd on their feet, a lot of French spectators here, of course, and they were urging Jean-Michel Bale just to finish off that overtaking manoeuvre. He almost did it. And there's a faller, and that is Jose Luis Cardosa, the Spaniard, who was in 12th place, and his race is over. But this battle far from finished, and it's Waalman from Okada and Jean-Michel Bale, and Okada comes out of the slipstream, and they're together. Oh, and surely they made contact. Okada knocks sideways, and Bale goes darting through to take third place away from the Japanese star. Jean-Michel Bale then looking as though he may be heading for a place on the podium for the first time in his road racing career. It's Waalman in second place, number 8, Bale up into third spot after that very dramatic moment. And here comes Bale, looking as though he's ready to go around Waalman. He's on the inside, and he goes through to second spot. Jean-Michel Bale, but he drifts wide, he makes a mistake, and Waalman goes through, but Okada can't. Yes, he can, they're side by side. Oh, and Jean-Michel Bale made a rare error. He got through to second spot, drifted wide, and two very experienced, capable, and ruthless riders in opposition made him pay for that mistake. So it's Waalman there. We can see him from Okada's on-bike camera in second spot. And here's a good battle going on, and it's Patrick van der Gorberg ahead of younger brother Jürgen van der Gorberg, and at the back of this trio it's Jean-Philippe Rougier on the factory Honda. Well, two privateers, both Dutchmen, and back with the battle for second, third and fourth place, and Bale then ahead of Okada. So Jean-Michel Bale has recovered one place. Now the last time he got just a little bit over-anxious, went through to second place but made a mistake, and Biaggi is slowing definitely on the final laps. He tends to do that, but the battle raging behind, and they're getting a little bit closer. No problems for Max though. He's just cruising for yet another victory this year, his third in a row. And Biaggi, without Harada in this race, remember, Biaggi will go to the top of the championship table by a comfortable margin. This will be his fourth victory of the year. The crowd saluting him. We saw a few spots of rain on a couple of the cameras a little bit earlier. A little wheelie there from Max as he heads towards the line. Will not want to be caught out. Still has his chin on the petrol tank. A little glance over his shoulder to see where that battle for second, third and fourth place is. And Biaggi looking so good. Oh, and another wheelie to celebrate this magnificent performance through the chicane for the last time. Oh, and the back end just stepped out. Now, that was a bit of a scare for him, and here comes these three. Who's going? Bale's down! Bale goes crashing down, and I think it's raining at the final corner. Waalman took second place, Okada third, but Bale, who drifted a bit wide, gave a big handful trying to regain that spot, and he went down in a big heap, and here comes Patrick van der Gorberg. Well, it's raining quite hard, and the marshal fell over, and down goes Carlos Checa. Well, for once, that wasn't his fault, I don't think. And Kenny Roberts Jr. steals a place from Jürgen van der Gorberg. There's the rain, and it's caused a dramatic end. They're falling off all over the place. And, well, the rain caught out everyone. There's Carlos Checa trying to get on his feet. But no problems for this man, but he was a little bit lucky. You can see the raindrops now on the camera. And there's Patrick van der Gorberg. He's pushed over the line. He took a real hefty knock. But it's celebration time out of the front for Max Biaggi. Confirmation of the result. Biaggi, Waldman, Okada, Rogier and Kenny Roberts Jr. in 5th place. And Jürgen van der Gorberg, who remounted on the Maxell Team Global machine. Then Aoki, Gramini, Dantin and Fuchs. And still waving the Italian flag, Max Biaggi gets the trophies from Jos Varsen of the FIM. Now it's Garland time, and a great performance from Biaggi. Absolutely superb. What a battle behind.
Today was a brilliant race. Not so bad race, not so very hard. The rain was a little bit problem for everybody, and then I want to say thank you to my team because they worked very well. The bike was very fast and nothing. This is my favorite track. It's like was born for me, for my type of style. Nothing. Just I'm very happy also because I'm first in the championship. Arada second, and we have a little bit advantage in him. Nothing. This is a nice present for me because tomorrow is my birthday, 24 years old, and I want to say thank you to everybody, to Max.
Biaggi 25 points ahead of Harada, who couldn't race, of course. Then Bellman, Aoki and Okada. Laps ahead of the field, and over the years we've seen some dramatic 500cc racers at Assen. There he is in pole position, the first time ever for a Spanish rider, Alex Crivillé. And the man he deposed, Mick Doohan in pole position at every other round so far this year. There's Loris Capirossi. And this is how they will line up. Crivillé then in pole, then Doohan, Capirossi and Alberto Puig. Arbe, then Scott Russell, Barros and the injured Daryl Beattie, then Ito, Cadalora, Reggiani and Borja. All eyes on the traffic lights, and Arbe creeping forward, but I don't think they're going to penalise him. Now who is it who makes the break? Alberto Puig going very well off the front of the grid, and there he is, number 5. I think he's going to lead into turn 1. It's Alberto Puig. Crivillé is there in 2nd place, then Capirossi, Doohan just moving up on the inside of Arbe, and you're a brave man to do that. So Alberto Puig out in front of the pack, but the man who was in pole position down in 2nd spot at the moment. Alberto Puig, of course, winner of the Spanish Grand Prix at Jerez, looking for another victory. And there's Cadalora number 2, a fair way down the field. And the rest of the pack going through with Alberto Puig at the front of them all. And still the Spaniards lead 1st and 2nd. Doohan for the moment content to be back in 4th place. Arby's alongside him, and that's a bit of a scary thought. So it's number 5, Alberto Puig. Then 6, Crivillé. 65 is Capirossi, and Capirossi sweeps round Crivillé, nips through to go into 2nd place. So Capirossi, who was 3rd fastest in practice, going ahead of the pole setter, but it's early days yet in this 20-lap race. Puig from Capirossi, then Crivillé, then Michael Doohan. And Doohan, of course, he doesn't like this track, but he has a golden opportunity to pull back all or most or some of the 24 points advantage that the injured Daryl Beattie has going into this race. So it's Alberto Puig, then Capirossi, Crivillé, then Doohan, then Arbe. And there's Capirossi. He's swept round Alberto Puig, and Capirossi leads. The young Italian at the front of the field. This is his first season of 500cc racing, and he leads the pack. And Doohan goes through on the inside, pushes Crivillé out, his teammate, and it's Doohan through into 3rd place. Well, it's all happening on this lap. Capirossi from Puig, then Doohan, Crivillé back to 4th, Then it's Abe, number 17. 9 is Alex Barros. 7 is Senichi Ito. But it's Caparossi who leads, the Italian, who admits that he's getting to grips more and more with the Marlboro Team Peleri machine. And Abe now has got ahead of Alex Crevia. So Crevia goes back another place. He's down to 5th position. Caparossi, Alberto Puig, Doohan. Well, will Doohan be happy to stay in 3rd place for much longer? What a good ride, though, from Caparossi, beginning to show that he can run at the front with the very best. Nice high shot. Look at all those cars, the vehicles, bikes, and spectators. An enormous crowd here at the Circuit van Drent, near the market town of Assen. And Alberto Puig looking about to go through on the inside, but had to change his mind because there was no piece of the racetrack left. Puig looks over his shoulder, and we'll have seen that big number 1 right behind him, and that should be enough to encourage him to wind up the wick just a little bit more. Crevia back into 4th place now, so Crevia recovering. Caparossi leads from Alberto Puig, then Mick Doohan, then Crevia back in 4th place, then it's Abe and Barros, and here comes Alberto Puig. He got that move lined up before, and Doohan looked as though he wanted to go round Caparossi. Well, Caparossi caught out, and Doohan is level with Caparossi, but he has to get back line astern. But the reigning 500 world champion, the Australian Mick Doohan, looking to go. He won't let Alberto Puig get away. He knows that Puig has got the ability and the machinery and the skill and determination to win a Grand Prix. He's done it already this year at Jerez, and he would like to do it again. In fact, he'd like to win the 500 World Championship. There's Kevin Schwantz, now just a spectator. It's Alberto Puig then, out in front. Can he stretch the advantage? He has done a little bit. Caparossi second, then Doohan, then Crevia, then Abe. And they're closing up now. We've got a 6-rider convoy at the front of this field. And the fans are on their feet as Mick Doohan charges through, clean as a whistle. A gap that didn't look big enough to take a racing motorcycle, and Doohan goes through to take 2nd place. Now he's got his sights fixed firmly on Alberto Puig. Caparossi is down to 3rd now. One-time race leader, Crevia behind him, then Abe. And Doohan sliding the Repsol Honda. This is not his favourite racetrack. He's had some nasty accidents here. He's had some bad luck, but he's had some victories too. And behind him, look at the scrap between Crevia and Caparossi. Crevia goes through, and suddenly, poor old Loris Caparossi, well, he had a bad headache on Thursday, but I should think it's almost a migraine attack now, because he's lost 1st place, 2nd place, and 3rd place in less than 3 laps. So Caparossi going backwards at the moment. Abe is right behind him, so too is Alex Barros, the Brazilian on the Irv Kalamoto Honda. So it's Alberto Puig, number 5, chasing him hard is Doohan. Then Crevia up to 3rd, 665 Caparossi, and Alex Barros now has got ahead of Abe as they put another lap in the book. Puig from Doohan, and here's Barros. Can he put Caparossi another place down? No. Caparossi says, I've lost enough positions, thank you very much indeed. I'm hanging on to 4th place, definitely. Caparossi under pressure from number 9, Alex Barros on the HRC Honda, and Abe on the Yamaha. No sign of his teammate though, Luca Cadalora. Not been a good last 2 or 3 Grand Prix for Luca Cadalora, but Doohan has caught Alberto Puig, and Crevia is with him as well, and this is the battle for 1st, 2nd and 3rd, and they are now dropping off the 3 riders behind, with Caparossi in 4th place. Through the chicane they go again. Now, Doohan has made some riding errors after the first 2 Grand Prix of the year. He will not want to make a mistake here if he can avoid it, and it is so easy at Assen to be punished for a riding error. And Mick Doohan knows that only too well. So Alberto Puig out in front, Doohan in 2nd place, number 1. Doohan looking for the outside, can't do it. Has to change his mind there. These bends come one after another, and Doohan just one side then the other, probing, looking for a way through, but Alberto Puig just refusing to give way, refusing to be put off by the fact that it's a world champion who's putting the pressure on. Alberto Puig hanging on grimly and skillfully, might I say, to first place, on a different line from Doohan, a wider line. Gives him a chance to see the track ahead. Crevella's not going to be shaken off, though. A view on high as the battle for the lead continues to rage. In some places, Alberto Puig just a little bit quicker than Doohan. Doohan quicker than Alberto Puig in others. When you get on high, you can see how this track just has very, very little in the way of straights. And here we are back trackside again. That's the gap, just a couple of machines' lengths or less than that at times, as the Spaniard Alberto Puig hangs on to the lead. And Doohan tried once again, and Puig was ready for him. Puig holds him off at the chicane and drifts wide, winds up the wick, and he holds on to the advantage. Doohan is there, Crevilla right in the picture in third place. Spanish riders first and third, and it's a kangaroo in the form of Mick Doohan as the filling in this Spanish sandwich. So Alberto Puig, can he win his second Grand Prix of the year? He's doing well at the moment, but Doohan is determined, and if Doohan can finish only in second place, then the injured Daryl Beattie will stay out in front in the World Championship battle. Beattie leads by 24 points, there's 25 at stake, and here comes Doohan on the inside, and again he changes his mind almost before he dived through. Maybe that was a sucker punch, maybe trying to con Puig into believing that that's the route he wants to come through when he tries again later, as he must surely try later. So Doohan will not go to the head of the championship table if he stays in second place. He can only take the championship lead again if he wins. Alberto Puig, the leader, Doohan all over him on the inside, and once again Puig refuses to be intimidated, refuses to give way, and the Spaniard hangs on to the lead. Doohan and his teammate Alex Crevilla, who was in pole position, let me remind you, unable or unwilling for the moment to get past. Puig wide, cuts back onto the apex of the corner. Doohan tempted to go through on the inside, can't do it. And Crevilla's there. Well, there's no team orders of that, I'm absolutely certain. But I'm sure that Crevilla would face a certain amount of flack, should we say, if he went past Mick Doohan and prevented Doohan taking the championship lead. But if Alberto Puig were to be leading on the final lap, well, maybe those tactics might go out of the window. For the moment, Puig leads. Doohan in second spot. Crevilla in third place. And Alberto Puig, this is his second season of 500cc Grand Prix racing, and he's learnt a lot over this season and a half. And Doohan winds up the wick, closes. Is this the place he's got in mind? Charges towards Alberto Puig, and Michael Doohan surely will start to have some master plan in his mind if he's going to get ahead. He goes on the outside. Is this the moment? He's ahead of Puig. Yes, he slots across the bow of Alberto Puig, and Mick Doohan takes the lead for the first time in this race, and there are 3 laps to go. Alberto Puig isn't finished, though. Look at him, determined as ever, tucked in on the rear wheel. Can he go for the inside line? He's thinking about it. No, Doohan on a wider line going into that corner, holds off. Now, Puig gets the back end sliding there a little bit. That'll be a warning sign for him. But he will want to repass Doohan if he can, but he's also got to worry about Crevilla. Now, it's not just a question of points in the championship. This is a question of Spanish pride. Alberto Puig and Alex Crevilla, both from Spain, both determined to be the best Spaniard. Puig smarting from the fact that Crevilla managed to grab pole position, the first Spanish rider ever to take pole position on a 500cc race. And Puig, the winner of the Spanish Grand Prix 500cc event, will want to outride Crevilla if he can. But also he would like to get ahead of Doohan and win this one too. And Caparossi, a glimpse of him in fourth place. It's been a good ride for the young Italian, but the time is running out for Crevilla if he wants to do something here. Doohan leading, Puig in second place, Crevilla right behind him. Any one of these 3 could still win this race. And all the time, the seconds are ticking down to that checkered flag. Mick Doohan out in front. Alberto Puig in second place. And Crevilla in third spot. So it's the Fortuna Honda Ponsman, the fitting between the two Repsol Hondas. And the Australian out in front. And if he can stay there, he will go ahead in the World Championship by just 1 point. And there goes Alberto Puig. Thought about diving through on the inside. He has different lines to do and on many parts of the circuit, and that may enable him to find a way through. Alberto Puig holding off Crevilla at the chicane, a favourite overtaking point at the Dutch Grand Prix over the years. Now it's 2 laps to go. So, Doohan from Puig, then Crevilla. And less than 12 kilometres for this race to be decided, for the outcome to be awarded in terms of World Championship points. And 25 points is what Mick Doohan desperately needs. The injured Daryl Beattie will be watching this from his hospital bed in London, where he's had an operation to knit the broken collarbone together, ready for the next round of the series at Le Mans. But in the meantime, it's the race today that counts for the men out on the racetrack. And the enormous crowd enjoying this to the full. Doohan then, out in front when it matters in the closing stages, but it's who's ahead at the checkered flag that counts the most. And they're going to catch up some tail enders. Now this could be a little bit difficult. It's not an easy track to pass anyway. And if the tail ender doesn't know that the quickmen are there, it could be very difficult indeed. And it only needs for one of these men just to pause, just to be ultra cautious, and the others could be passed. And they're catching that tail ender now, but he knows they're there, and he's moved over. And the battle for the lead continues to rage unabated and uninterrupted. Alberto Puig working out in his mind where he thinks he might be quicker than Doohan, but Doohan has begun to stretch a slight advantage, but the others might be able to pull that back. Now, what's Crevilla going to do? Is he prepared to sit back in third place? Will he go for second spot? Will he go for the lead, in fact? Crevilla in pole position in practice. A win would look good, and he's level with Alberto Puig going into the chicane for the penultimate time. And once again, Alberto Puig holds him off. We're about to start the final lap of the 1995 500cc Dutch Grand Prix, and any one of these three men could win. And again, there's slower traffic down the racetrack. Now, will the slower men move over in time to avoid any problems? And, well, this man certainly should. It's Andrew Stroud, the very experienced New Zealander. Doohan, Puig, Crevilla, and Andrew Stroud waves one of his long legs out into the track to indicate to the others that that's where he'd like them to overtake. And Doohan has an advantage that surely Alberto Puig cannot possibly pull back, but Puig is winding in the yards between himself and the race leader. There's Doohan, and Puig is much, much closer, and Crevilla is closer to Puig as well. We're in for a grandstand finish. Who's going to win this one, and who's going to be second? It's Doohan out in front. Alberto Puig tucked in behind the fairing, trying to stay on the tight line, making life difficult for Crevilla. And here comes Crevilla. Crevilla through on the inside. Oh, and he almost ran on into Michael Doohan. Well, Crevilla drifts wide. Can Puig come back? No, he can't. And Crevilla, with a desperate manoeuvre and a desperate but effective manoeuvre, goes through to take second place away from Alberto Puig, who led this race for so long. And in 3 and a bit laps, Alberto Puig has gone back from first place to third, and now not far to go to the checkered flag. Is it going to be a Repsol Honda 1-2, or is Crevilla going to mount a challenge? Can he push his luck as far as team tactics and the political fighting goes? Can Crevilla win? He's looking for the inside, is he? No, he changes his mind. They're going to go through line astern, and it's Doohan who's going to win. And a tail ender just moves over as well. It's Doohan the winner, Crevilla in second place, and Alberto Puig in third spot. Capirossi is fourth home. Well, what a marvellous race. Doohan, the winner, his teammate Crevilla, a good second, but a bitterly disappointed Alberto Puig surely in third spot. And Mick Doohan with the Australian flag, and more Australian flags. I told you they came from all over the world. Confirmation of the result: Doohan, Crevilla, Puig, just over half a second separating the top three. Capirossi, then Barros completing the top five. Abe was sixth, Cadalora disappointing seventh, then Ito, Reggiani and Borca in 10th place. And presenting the trophies, the royal visitor to the Dutch Grand Prix, Prince William Alexander, the heir to the Dutch throne. Celebration time, the champagne corks burst, and Alberto Puig doesn't look that unhappy.
Really good to win here. You know, I had to take advantage of Daryl Beattie's misfortune, and you know, it's a shame he's not here, but you know, at any rate, I had to take maximum advantage of it if I could, and I felt comfortable all the way sitting behind Alberto, and I felt that if I could get by, I could hold him off, and it was just a matter of getting by because he's late on the brakes, but he doesn't carry much corner speed, so you can't really make an advantage on him. When he brakes late and then stops you in the middle of the turn, you both accelerate away the same again. So there was only really the one spot here coming into the chicane that I thought I could get him. So from 5 laps from the end, I decided that I better start trying now, otherwise I'm going to run out of laps. And 2 laps later I was by, and lucky to hold it to the end.
It was a difficult race, and in the end I finished second, but maybe I couldn't be more in front. But anyway, it's a good result for me. Finish second, no, it's fantastic.
They passed me in the last lap. I think it was my mistake. I mean, when Doohan passed me, I tried to follow him. It was it was okay, but I didn't expect that Alex was going to come behind me. I think it was my mistake. That's all.
And the championship positions: Doohan now 1 point ahead of the injured Daryl Beattie, then Alberto Puig, Crevilla and Cadalora.